What if the safest man in Thebes was only brave while the sun could see him? Menkhu served as a temple scribe near Karnak, where painted columns rose like stone forests and sunlight fell across rolls of papyrus. By day, his hand was perfect. He restored broken names, counted offerings, and remembered every title a priest might forget. But when evening stretched its blue fingers across the walls, Menkhu gathered his pens, closed his satchel, and hurried home. At first, the other scribes only smiled. They said Menkhu could face tax lists, angry overseers, and missing grain jars, but not a dark street. Then the smiles became whispers. Servants learned not to ask him for help after sunset, and messengers stopped seeking him at dusk. Menkhu told himself this was wisdom. The night had thieves, dogs, jackals, spirits, and corners where no honest man should linger. Yet every excuse sounded weaker when spoken aloud. Even he knew the worst creature in the dark was the one his own mind kept feeding. One evening, as priests prepared a lunar rite for Khonsu, a sealed message arrived from the inner court of Karnak. Its clay seal bore sacred names, and its contents had to reach a shrine across Thebes before the first light of dawn. The usual messenger had fallen from a stairway. The senior scribes were absent, and no servant knew the ritual route. Only Menkhu could read the seal, name the gates, and carry the words without breaking the order of the rite. When the steward placed the message before him, Menkhu felt his mouth dry, as if desert wind had entered the room. He bowed and said the streets were unsafe. He spoke of broken paving stones, stray dogs, thieves, canals, and wandering spirits. The steward listened without anger, which made the silence worse. Behind him, the western sky deepened from gold to indigo. Menkhu could feel every eye on him. No one had called him a coward, but the word stood among them like a statue. At last, the high priest came from the sanctuary, his linen robe smelling faintly of incense and cold stone. He did not mock Menkhu. He did not raise his voice. He simply lifted the sealed message and placed it in Menkhu's hands. "Then let Khonsu judge," he said, "where the fear is heavier than duty." Outside, the moon had begun to rise above the painted walls, pale and watchful as an eye that did not blink. Menkhu stepped into Thebes with the message against his chest, and every familiar street became a stranger wearing a darker face. Palm leaves became fingers, a sleeping cat became a demon, a hanging cloth breathed in the wind like a ghost waiting to speak. Near a small moonlit shrine, Menkhu stumbled, dropped the message, and fell to his knees with dust on his palms. "I cannot do this," he whispered, though no man stood nearby to hear him. "The night is full of mouths." Then the moonlight hardened upon the stone, and Khonsu appeared where silver touched shadow. He was youthful and ancient at once, calm as still water, crowned by the lunar disk and crescent that held the hours of night. Menkhu pressed his forehead to the ground, but Khonsu said, "Lift your eyes, scribe. A man cannot read while hiding from the page." The god pointed toward the street. "Night does not carve monsters. It only lends darkness to the shapes your fear has already made." Menkhu looked again, and the demon became a cat, the ghost became linen, and the fingers became palm leaves moving in the wind. "Name what is true," Khonsu said. "A shadow obeys the thing that casts it. Let your mind obey the same law." Menkhu rose, took the message, and walked on with fear still beating inside him, but no longer seated like a king. He named each thing he passed: wall, jar, doorway, cat, palm, water, cloth, stone. Each name became a small lamp. Before dawn, Menkhu reached the shrine gate and placed the sealed message into the hands of the waiting priest. The rite was saved, but Menkhu did not boast. He only turned back toward the moonlit streets and understood that he has crossed them as himself. After that night, Menkhu still rode best by sunlight, but he no longer fled when the evening lamp was lit. Sometimes he walked the courtyard after dark, listening as Thebes breathed softly beneath the moon, and the night spoke. A Tale of Ancient Egypt